I've been reading some new releases by Black authors, and three of them I want to share with you today. I absolutely loved all three of these books. My name is Raquel. I talk about all things Black books. Welcome and welcome back. So let's get into these three books. I'm not going to waste any time. The first book I read is called I, Medusa by Anya Gray. It came out on November 28th of 2025, so it's only a couple of months old. And when I saw it, when I was reading it on my new releases video, I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'm going to read this. And so I finally got my hands on it. Now, I like Greek mythology. Mind you, I have not read it since I was a kid, but it stayed with me. I love the Greek mythology movies, but I have not read any books. And mind you, Medusa is black in this book. She's got locks and everything. I love it. The one thing that really made me love this book is I have always thought of Medusa as a villain. All of the stories I've seen or movies I've watched, you've got her turning people to stone and then somebody chops her head off. Like that is pretty much how it turns out for her. You never know what made her the way she is, why she does what she does, like how she got this. It's like I'm just assuming that she was born Medusa with the snakes in her head. This book humanizes Medusa. They bring her in as a teenager. She is, I want to say, 16, 17 years old. And this is kind of a young adult book, which I really normally don't read, but this one I really wanted to get into it. So Medusa's about 16, 17 years old, and she's called Medi as a nickname. She's spotted by Athena. Athena decides that she wants to bring her in and make her an acolyte. An acolyte is a priestess in training. And a priestess is somebody who does the bidding of Athena. So she feeds the people. She will go around and give people blessings, pray for them, different things like that, all in the name of Athena. So uh, Athena brings in 10 girls, and these 10 girls are competing to become the high princess. So you have 10 acolytes, and they have these little challenges that they have to do and meet in order to see who's going to become the uh, priestess. Because they're all in Athena's castle or what house or whatever it is, they are, a bunch of teenage girls getting into mischief. Some of them don't like each other, some of them do. It reminds me of just like a reality show, basically. And they do these challenges, and it's really is really very humanizing for Medusa. I never thought of her as a young girl. What was she like? Or like what made her the way she never even crossed my mind. Literally, she's always been a villain in my head. And so them bringing her in as a teenager, giving her a name, making her human, making her soft, and she is actually as a teenager a very sweet girl. She does little mischievous things, but she's actually a good person. And so she meets this guy, and she kind of has a little bit of an attraction to him, and they kind of bump into each other a few times. So, that attraction is coming along. Um, then, they do their little challenges and this and that, and now she becomes the priestess because it's Medusa's story. We already know she's going to win all the challenges, right? And so she becomes the high priestess. She takes this vow of chastity not um, to not lose her virginity. Just all of the stuff. I can't even remember what all it was. I know that she isn't supposed to lose her virginity, right? So the guy after that, she gets in trouble with Athena. Now She gets in trouble with Athena. This isn't her first time, but this one's really big. Athena is hot. Athena, she thinks that Athena is going to kick her out, and it's really a great big misunderstanding. But Athena doesn't want to lose her place on her, pedestal, and you know how people can be. Um, I think there's a little jealousy in there, but um, so then comes the guy again who turns out to be Poseidon. And Poseidon winds up like, I don't know if I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, if he assaulted her or if he seduced her. It's kind of up for interpretation. And so she gets, Poseidon's no good, and her friend and everybody's trying to tell her, but she didn't kiss them, and now her little teenage hormones is going crazy. Poseidon is a grown man, and as a matter of fact, he's an old man, but he has the ability to change into a human form however he likes. So he tricked her either way it goes. So she there is a little LGBT going on in here, which I mean, it is what it is, but I thought it was really cute, really sweet. And so she gets into it with Athena, and unfortunately, I think Athena and Poseidon are brother and sister, and they have some brother and sister rivalry going on, and they kind of drag Medusa into that, unfortunately, and she gets caught up in it. I enjoyed this book so much. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed this book. I am not a young adult reader. I'm just not. I do read um, urban fiction that wind up with young characters, but it just kind of turns out that way. It isn't something that I do purposely. A lot of times I'll even not read it because they're a little bit younger than I want to be reading about. But this was a great book. I am definitely going to read this book again because it was that good. And let's move on to the next book because I will keep going on and on. The next book is On Sunday I Pick Flowers. It is by Yaya Schofield. It came out on January 27th of 2026. This is another awesome book. I loved this book. So I started out reading Medusa. I put Medusa down. I went to On Sunday I Picked Flowers. I read it straight through, did not put it down, could not put it down, other than to go to sleep. Woke up, picked it right back up. This book was so good. So it says that it is horror. I wouldn't consider it horror. I would consider it historical fiction and fantasy. And that's not just because I want to say that I finally read some fantasy. It's because there's fantasy in the book, and I don't know why they left that out. So on Sunday, I Pick Flowers is about these four women. Three of them are sisters, and then I believe the oldest sister, whose name is Nessie, she has a daughter. So Nessie and her two sisters come from a very dysfunctional, abusive family. Nessie winds up having a daughter after so many um, having a bunch of pregnancies that aren't able to continue. So she winds up having this child. And by the time she has this child, she is just emotionally not available. And not only that, there's some other stuff happening as well. So she winds up treating her daughter in the same way that she was treated. Her daughter is 42 years old when she finally decides to leave. She commits a crime and runs off. She calls her aunt and she's like babbling or whatever. So nobody knows where she is, what happened, why she's gone, nothing. And she runs off to the forest. And there is this haunted house in the forest. She gets to the haunted house. The house has ghosts and haunts and it's freaking and doing all kinds of stuff. But for her, it isn't scary because with all of the abuse and different things that she's been through, she just isn't frightened by this house. She just feels like she needs to acclimate herself to the house, get to know the house, and everything will be fine. Which, funny enough, she seems to understand the house. So that's why I say it isn't horror because I think you have to be scared in order for it to be horror. And she isn't scared, and I'm not scared reading it. So I don't know. Anyways, so while she's living there, she goes out to the store, she goes hunting and different things like that. She's gathering food, she has a garden. And whenever she goes out, she feels a presence. And so she knows that there is something or someone there. She just never has the opportunity to see it. And then this presence starts to leave her gifts. And sometimes it could be flowers, it could be a rabbit or a I don't know, a deer, whatever. And after a while, they sort of start exchanging gifts. If the presence leaves her a rabbit, she'll cook the rabbit and she'll eat some and she'll leave a plate for this present. She eventually meets this lady who becomes her friend, and they wind up living together. And they are just really close. They have this great attachment to each other, wonderful friendship. And she's still leaving the presents for, whatever that presence is. She's still leaving gifts for the presents, right? And so one day the friend is out and she winds up going into the room. She finds out something that is very off-putting to her, that is just not okay. And she is very upset with her friend, and so she's waiting for her friend to come back so that they can talk about it. Or uh, she doesn't want to be friends with her anymore, let's just put it that way. And this book, it it has so many different little messages in it, and I hate that I didn't write it down, because there were times when I was reading this book and I was just kind of like, that's interesting. Like, um her and the way she deals with the house is really, like, when she first gets there, the house is really trying to kick her out. And she's just like, no, yeah, I'm cool. I'm not going nowhere. I love this story. It was so good. So I'm gonna move on, because when a book is good, I tend to just ramble on and on and on, and probably giving away stuff that I shouldn't. So the last book is The Seven Daughters of Dupree by shoot, what is her name? Nakisa Elise Williams, and it came out also on January 27th of 2026. Now, this one is historical fiction. It is a multi-generational story. When it first starts out, you have this teenage girl who wants to know who her father is. And her mother doesn't want to tell her who her father is because, is that how? Excuse me. Yeah, okay. She doesn't want to tell her who her father is because that is a really painful time in her life. She's trying to protect her daughter. And I think that there is also some guilt attached to how the situation came about. Some guilt, some shame, of how it came about. And so she doesn't want to, talk about it. So this is something that her daughter is struggling with over a few years. And then the mother, so the daughter's name, I believe, is Titi, or Yeah, I think it's Titi or something like that. And then her mother's name, I believe, is Gladys, or maybe, yeah, I think Gladys is second. And so Gladys has some issues with her mother that are similar but not the same. And they have this rocky kind of relationship because um, Gladys has two brothers, and the mother seems to dote on the brothers, and she feels like her mother hates her, which is not necessarily true. There is just something happening with her mother that she doesn't understand, and her mother is not willing to share it with her. So, really, their family is cursed and they only have daughters. And so it starts out with their original ancestor, whose name is Sarah, who was assaulted coming over on the ship from Africa. And once her feet hit soil, she was ready to run. She wound up getting pregnant by the person who brought her over, the kidnapper who brought her over. But um, through that comes the baby that she's pregnant with is the next generation. That generation comes along and she is raised by another person. And that person believes in haints and voodoo, or well, I don't know if it's voodoo, but they believe in a certain type of rituals. And so, because of that, that's where the curse come in. And so the curse goes, down throughout their lineage. And there's also some colorism because the first lady, Sarah, is very dark. And then she has a baby with this white man that is very fair skinned. And so throughout the generations that pass down, when it gets to a certain point, there's some colorism. There's one of the daughter who is passing for white. There is another one who is super dark. Out of all of them, there's only one. And then she has issues because she's dark. And like each generation has something happening and it trickles over into the next generation, but I am happy to say that they start to work it out. I think by the fourth generation, I think it is, they start to unravel this thing and stop keeping secrets, because that is usually the problem within families. There's gonna be some secrets. So these are three great books. I loved each and every one of these. um, I'm definitely going to read I, Medusa again. I'm definitely going to read on Sunday I Pick Flowers. And I do believe I'll read The Seven Daughters of Dupree again, because I was reading Medusa, I, Medusa, and something else. Not Sunday I Pick Flowers, something else that I'm currently reading. I kept putting down The Seven Daughters of Dupree because, number one, the other books seem more interesting, but it is harder to connect because of the multi generations and the going back and forth. And so it takes you a while to actually figure out what's going on. And because of that, I kept putting the book down. But now that I know that I like the book and I understand the book, I'd like to read it straight through just to ease my mind and kind of write down those little things that I felt like, hey, wow, I didn't, I missed that. So, anyways, um, if you love historical fiction, or if you like Greek mythology or a little bit of horror, I would recommend any or all three of these books because they were awesome. Um, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Do all of the YouTube things like, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, see you soon.